Okay, let's get us started, and then new people can be joining as they can. So hello everyone, and thank you very much for being with us today and for registering for this webinar to let you know a bit more about this open call for proposals that we are launching. As you can see, my name is Agustina De Luca. I am Data Engagement Manager at Open Ownership. As I said before, I will be mainly speaking in English. You can use the French interpretation in the world bottom that it's at the bottom of your screen. You might see that you're all muted and you can't unmute yourselves. We have set this up in order to avoid interferences and to make sure I'm heard clearly. But then if you want to intervene or to make any questions, you can raise your hand in the reactions button and I can unmute you and make your cameras on for you to make the question, or you can write it down in the chat while I'm speaking or at any time and we can answer it. So the idea today is to present the general outline of the call for proposals that you might all have seen online. We will let you know what a successful proposal looks like, what we expect what's an expected outline, and share all the details that you need to complete, some examples and ideas of inspiration. By the end of this hour together, we expect you to be able to submit really high-level proposals and to make our jobs tough to select those that will be awarded with our support. As you might all know, a beneficial owner is a physical person that ultimately owns or controls a company. This means that there's a person at the end of an ownership chain that has some kind of share to a company's income or assets, or that can control over its activities. Over the world, around 100 governments around the world have committed to beneficial ownership transparency. But there's yet quite a lot to work to be able to use this information and to share the public value that it can have to improve governance. To support this, together with the Extractives Industry Transparency Initiative, the EATI, we're delivering this global program that it's named Opening Extractives, with the idea to transform the availability and use of beneficial ownership data in the extractives sector in particular. The idea is to support governments politically and technically to deliver beneficial ownership reforms, and data users, both from the journalism side, from CSOs, companies, or activists that want to be able to analyze and use this information to improve governance in the natural resources. That's where this open call for proposal comes in, to support non-government data users to use and be able to show the impact of having this data publicly. We want to support tailored and context-based projects that altogether can catalyze transformative change in this area of work. So having said this, I will share my screen with a couple of examples and some more details building on what you have already seen in the online in the website. And after that, we will open the floor for questions or any considerations or clarifications that you might have. If there are no questions in the chat, so I suppose that it's me, that everything is clear, I will share my screen for this presentation and you will let me know if everything is okay. Okay, you can see this correctly, right?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic, thanks, Lucia. Okay, so I won't go over what I've already shared and when you have already seen in the website, but we are expecting proposals to use and analyze public beneficial ownership data, and it can be either analyzing corrupt or potential corrupt practices, looking into procurement or licensing projects, looked at tax evasion, money laundering, illicit financial flows, look at a particular policy area, or combine beneficial ownership data with other data sources such as political financing, PEPs, conflicts of interests, assets declarations. So you can combine international data sources. Some examples could be building a database using visuals, a platform where you can show visually and kind of click and show links between different kind of people, companies, PEPs information. You can just look for a campaign and use infographics with clear information, use it for comms, explain in plain language how this looks like, how in a particular context this information can add value to the public debate. You can develop a documentary or a couple of videos where you analyze a particular area and you show it visually, very straightforward and quite graphically. Or you can analyze a particular company or a region where this is where there's a problem that you've seen, and you have to make this clear why you're doing that. And you can just look very particularly at a company or at a particular problem. So it can be quite varied. It should have, you have to make it quite clear in the project proposal why you are choosing that and how you expect to deliver your project. We expect a successful proposal to have these four main areas, or these four main outlets, which is one, to be problem-driven and solution-oriented. This means that you have to include evidence, set out a concrete problem that you're trying to achieve, include achievable objectives within the time frame we have, and how your intervention will help address or solve part of this program. So how you're expecting your intervention to be linked to that problem that you are outlining. We expect to have innovative angles. You can either build on past research or a past project that you have, or it can be a quite brand new one. We expect to have quite innovative angles, new tools, methodologies. You can build on international ones, but then clear set out what your methodology and how you expect it to approach to your projects. We expect to liaise and engage with different stakeholders from the government, from companies, from different CSOs in the countries. So try to, local communities from different backgrounds. So try to set up a community there, and to provide impactful use cases. This means we want to show the public value of having this data publicly. So why is it important to have beneficial ownership data publicly? Why is it important to know who is behind a particular company or a set of companies? So set out the impact story, the case study out there on why this is important. You might have seen that there's a template out there that you have to download and then work offline in your own computer. It has a set of questions and a particular maximum of words that each of them should have. So I won't go through all of them because there you have some explanation, but I want to stress in 4 of them. The first one, as I have already said, about a focus in the problem, in why you are looking at this. And here we expect you to share evidence, links, articles, stats, whatever you can share with us that shows why that is a problem in the particular context that you're working on and why you are working on that. So focus on what you are struggling, what's the challenge that you are trying to achieve. Then where you will be getting the data from and how you will be able to use it. Is there a public register that you are using in your context? Will you be using international data sources? Are you going to do freedom of information requests, interviews? Is the data available of high quality? Do you have to clean it up? How you will approach to clean up that data? Do you have to scrap information or manually copy it from a website because you can't analyze it through technology, through the computer? So we really want to understand what's your challenge within the data use and how you are approaching to gathering all that information. Or if there's like no information available, so how are you approaching to your intervention. Then how will your project change the reality, or what's your expected outcome? What do you expect to achieve through this project? Whether there will be further interventions after this project is finished, what's the sustainability of it? How do you expect your project or your intervention to build value within whatever the problem is or the past in that context, and whatever comes after next year when this project is finished? And then why you? Why you, your organization, your media outlet, your cohort of organizations is well suited to implement this? And here you will see two questions. One is particularly your background experience, past research that you might have on the topic, whatever you can show us that shows the value and why you are able to deliver this. And then your project team, how is it composed, and states particularly which person will be in charge of which activity. What's your background experience, what is your knowledge of your area of knowledge, how you will be delivering this. And then below that, you will see a table with the budget outlet for the financial proposal. And here you will see that the overhead can't be beyond 10%. We can't support any hardware or equipment, buying equipment like computers, desks, cameras, no office expenses. But we can, for instance, if you need to buy a software or a particular tool, acquire a license or an online program, you need to analyze the information, or to pay for a particular subscription to be able to visualize something, that's something that we can't support. Or for instance, hiring a drone, for instance, if you want to like map out a particular area, we can't support that, but we can't buy those type of equipments. For comms, you can include a kind of design, interpretation, translation, infographics, so those type of things. And all the others I think are pretty clear, and let me know afterwards if you have any particular questions on either the narrative or the financial structure and what we will be covering. At the same time, we want this to be, and we as an Opening Extractives program want to be as supportive as possible for all of you. So we don't just expect you to be selected and then come back in 6 months and hear what you have found and what your project looks like. We want to be engaged as much as possible in your process, and we can support you in some of the areas that you might need help in. For instance, we can provide technical assistance and guidance if you need much background information on concepts, supporting evidence, guiding examples, like going through complex ownership structures. So we can support some guidance on that. We can provide advocacy support on strategies, communication, background materials to build campaigns, key messages, make the case that you are trying to make. We can provide some capacity building and training skills if you need, either for your team or to partner with you or to support your interventions or your activities if your project involves any of these. We can provide one-on-one troubleshooting sessions if you're struggling with something in particular, if you have an obstacle that it's in your path for delivering your projects. Let us know if you are struggling with something, and we can connect and help you out with your strategy. And we can also provide a global network of contacts, either from Open Ownership or the EITI. We can connect you with international partners in the area that you are working on and provide you support on that. You might have also seen that there's a simple eligibility criteria, and there's a particular document that it's linked there where you can see like the 3 main areas that we will be evaluating. So I won't go through that because it's what's there, but basically what I wanted to point out is that organizations that submit a proposal should be based in any of these countries. And the output of the project, what you're expecting to deliver, or where you will be basing your investigation or your project, should be also linked to any of these countries. It can be a multiple country approach, a multiple country project. It can be just one. It can be focused on a particular, it doesn't have to be necessarily focused on the national sphere. You can focus on a particular region, province, area. So you can combine however you want, but at least one organization or media outlet or individual that is applying needs to be based in any of these countries, which is the countries that the Opening Extractives program is focusing on. And then almost finally, this is the timeline that we are seeing. You will have around 1 month to prepare your projects, which will still have 2.5 weeks to deliver them. So June the 1st is the deadline to submit your proposals. The deadline is at midnight, wherever you are based. So, well, it's not like a particular timeline, wherever you are based in your local country. At midnight, at June 1st, midnight, you need to submit the proposal. We will be evaluating and communicating just successful proposals within 3 weeks' time. And we expect projects to be delivered between July 1st and the end of the year, so around 6 months. If you need projects to be a bit longer, they can be. Of course, they can be less if you think it's a very straightforward intervention and you just need 3, 4, or 5 months. But if you need them to be a bit longer, let's say 7 or 8 months, we can evaluate that. So please let us know in the proposal and clearly state why you need that, either because you have elections or because data will be released in the next couple of months, or if you have something, or if there's something important happening in January that you want to cover, for instance. So clearly state that in your proposal and we can evaluate that. And then for the first 2 or 3 months of next year, we expect to collect key finding, outcomes, share outputs, learnings, and see together how to move this program forward. And finally, all these details are as well in the website, but to apply, you need to download the template. So you will see in the website that you have 3 templates, one in English, one in French, and one in Spanish. You can submit them in any of those languages. That you have to download it. So you'll see the link that it's going to a Google Drive document. So if you go to the file menu, you can download it and work on your own computer. And then you have to submit it via email to openingextractives@eati.org. You can either have 1 document or 2, one for the narrative and another one for the financial proposal. That's up to you. You will see that the templates have a maximum number of words. We expect proposals to be between no more than 14, 15 pages. That is like using the maximum number of words. So you will be guided by that, but please don't exceed those number of words. And as I said before, deadline is just June 1st. We expect proposals to be delivered within the last semester of the month, and the budget can be between $10,000 and $25,000. It can be less if you think it's a very small intervention that you want to do, but it can't exceed $25,000. And so I will be finishing here. We really, really look forward to receiving many proposals guided by this. And I will now open the floor for questions or clarifications of any things that I have shared. And I'm seeing that in the chat, there are some things. Okay, so you have there the links that Daisy has been sharing. So does anyone have a question? Please raise your hand and I can give you the floor. Daisy has also shared a PDF which has a similar document to the slide deck that I have just shared with some other examples, links to examples of inspiration. Lucia, did I miss something that people need to know or that you want to clarify on?
Agostina, there's a question on the chat.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
So someone is asking whether there will be a presentation on the proposal that they will have.
I don't think I understand the question. I'm sorry.
So Mosa can ask his question.
Yeah, I will. Mosa, do you want to intervene?
I think it was just about the PowerPoint, the presentation. So Daisy already shared it. So I think we should be fine.
Yeah, it's much more complete, the PDF that Daisy shared, than the slide that I used today. Yeah, Demba, please step in.
Yes, thank you so much for the great presentation. I'm Demba. I'm working for Publisher to Pay as a Senior Regional Coordinator for Francophone West Africa. I can see some countries from my region that are part of the, let's say, priority country of this project. And what I was asking is whether there is a kind of possibility to have a joint proposal from 2 or 3 publisher to pay coalitions. For example, publisher to pay work as coalitions in the operating countries we have. So in case we have 2 or 3 priority countries, even those which are not priority for you, but can be part of the kind of consortium that we can apply together, and maybe to maximize the chances depending on the threshold of the grant amount, right? So that's my key question. Maybe a corollary question is whether that kind of northern registered organization like Publisher to Pay International Secretariat could apply on behalf of different coalitions, and then in terms of management to get managed from the International Secretariat, and implementation gets done in the implementing countries. That's my question. I don't know whether you are really clear on that.
So let me get back to the first one. You're asking if there could be a joint proposal by some priority countries of these and including others from West or East Africa. I think it could, but it should be clearly focused on, if there's a joint one, so the majority of those countries should be those that we have identified as priorities. So if you are doing like 4 countries, then 3 might be like from the proposals and this, from these targeted ones. So let's say, I don't know, Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, and I don't know, Kenya, to say something, you know, kind of that could be, but in the project outline should really make the case why you are including a non-targeted one and how it will combine, or like why, let's say if you see there's a country that has done a lot, then you want to peer exchange and to bring that knowledge into one of the countries from this cohort, then that would make the case on why you're including a targeted country into the proposal, something like that. And then as per the international organization, we will really advise to be based in one of the priority countries. It could be the other way around. So the international secretary could come in as a partner, but the main lead could be a local or a national organization based, or like a publish what to pay, as following your example, local chapter, and then bringing in the international experience as a partner.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Demba, for your question. Does anyone else have a follow-up question? Lucia, do you want to clarify or add something or no? How?
I think it was super clear. So no other comments from my side.
Okay, I will give 1 more minute in case someone is reading through the documents or has a question. Otherwise, hi, Gilbert. So we went through the proposal that has been shared on the website. And after this meeting, we will share the video because this meeting has been recorded. So we will upload it to YouTube and you can watch that video with the specifics of what we shared. But basically it was going through the call for proposals, the specifics, going through the templates to address what we expect proposals to cover. So if you have any particular questions based on the templates or on the outputs or on the outline, just raise your hand and I can unmute you so you can make it. Yes, Bismarck.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, so thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. My question is on word limit on the template. Assuming that number one, you are required to write not more than 1,500 words, but you are able to write 1,000 words to exhaust what you want to present. Then you go to number two, and they give you 500 words, but you want to write up to 1,200 words. Can that compensate for the other one? Is it allowed?
No, the idea is to respect the maximum per section.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And can two or more organizations in the same country jointly submit a proposal?
Yes, you can. Ideally, you should identify one to be the project lead so that the one that will be representing the organization in the, like coordinating the project. So the one submitting it, and if it gets approved, then one person to liaise with. But yeah, it can be a cohort of people or organizations.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, Bismarck. Anyone else has a question? So Gilbert is asking on the chat, how do we break the tendency for most African governments to secrecy? Can you help? So we expect this call for proposals to support non-government actors, which whatever your focus of work is, to help you address any challenges or problems that you are seeing locally. and that that this financial and technical support from our project can help you address whatever problems you're seeing. Particularly, this program is working together with the 5 countries in Africa through technical and political support in improving and delivering beneficial ownership transparency. Yes, Daniela.
Okay, hello. So it means that, hello. So it means that if we are selected, we are going to count with help into the government in order to obtain that information. For example, I'm from Argentina, and of course, it's everything is secret and confidential, but the information, I know it's there because we have a public registry. So if we are selected to this proposal, we are going to have help from inside the government in order to have access to that information?
We can't assure that. Okay. We are working with some government agencies in these countries. In particular, in Argentina, we're working with the Ministry of Economy, the Secretary of Energy, and the Ministry of Productive Development, with the mining secretary, with the EATI team. But we can't assure like inside information. It will depend on the country and if on a particular project. If your project really depends on government's inputs or like access to non-published government data, then you can state that in the proposal and we can make the assessment before selecting it to see if the program can support from that side.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Does anyone else have a question? Otherwise, we can finish this call. As I said before, the video will be published in YouTube and we will share it over our social media and emails. There's still a few weeks left. If you have any further questions, you can email us to that email, but I think together with the website and this call, everything should be addressed. So I will wish you all of you the best of lucks, hard work the next few weeks. And we really look forward to receiving many proposals. Thank you very much for joining us today. Have a nice rest of the week.